Who doesn't love a great Irish stew? Whether it's in the winter or on a cool evening in the summer, Irish stew is just amazing. And you can make it with beef or with lamb. So it just depends on what you and your family enjoy. You can change it up a little bit. But there are some things that every Irish stew has. First of all, great meat. Secondly, wonderful potatoes. Third, a lot of flavor. And of course, fourth, a bottle of really good stout. So let's just heat up a little olive oil and a little bit of bacon fat in the pan. Now, if you don't have bacon fat, that's fine. You can just substitute a little more olive oil. I just happen to have this, and for me, I like that little extra flavor component when I'm making Irish stew. So about 3 tablespoons all together in my pan. And I just want to melt that down, and then I'm going to get my beef ready. So you're going to chunk up your beef, whether it's a stew beef or you're using something a little leaner. Just make sure that you chunk it well in about 1 to 1.5 inch cubes. Now blot it dry because wet meat does not brown, and we really want this to get a nice color on it. So we're waiting for the pan to fully heat before we put our meat in. So while that's happening, I just want to take some salt and pepper, and I'm going to stir that around in the beef. About 2 tablespoons mixed salt and pepper will be great. Just give it a little coat. All right, now let's take that first layer of beef and just put it in our pan. We're trying to get the meat so that it's not completely touching. You want a little bit of separation, because if it's touching, you're going to get a lot of moisture coming out of it. And what we're trying to do here is to sear it so that the moisture is inside. So if you can, get in half of your meat for the first round, and we're just going to toss that around. It doesn't have to be brown on all sides, but you want the heat to hit it so that it sears in those juices of the meat. That way it doesn't get so dry in the stew. Okay, once you've had that kissed by the heat on all sides, you can pull out that batch and go for batch number 2. Now let that beef rest. We're going to put in our onion. So let's just stir those onions a little bit. Now, while there's still fat in the pan and it hasn't all soaked in, what I want to do is add a little bit of flour. And at the same time, I'm going to add some tomato paste, because I want that tomato paste to blend in with that flour and start to give us that Maillardization effect, that toasting of the sugar in the tomato. So you're cooking up that wonderful flour, you're cooking down that great tomato paste, and you're ending up with this orangish paste in the bottom of the pan. So let's take that stout and just pour it in. The bubbles go to the bottom and they just lift up all of those ingredients, those little tidbits that are on the bottom. That's called fond. So let's just lift that. Oh yeah, as I stir it, I feel it come right up off the bottom of the pan. And then the other ingredient I want to add right now is some nice beef stock. Now, if you have access to your own beef bones, you know what a rich stock that will give you. If not, just enrich your stock with a little bit of extra bouillon, but try to get something that doesn't have a lot of extra salt in it. Okay, so that's ready for our vegetables. I've got carrots here that I chunked up in 1-inch pieces. And then I'm going to take a pound of little teeny tiny white potatoes. Now you can actually use just a regular potato and cut them into large chunks, but I love these little potatoes. I think they're fun in the stew, and they add a little different texture. Now you can see that that stew has become nice and thick. It really coats that spatula. It's just beautiful. And the potatoes are soft, the carrots are soft. Now at this point, I'm going to add my beef right back in. And then just a little bit of freshly chopped parsley. That stout gives such a richness. Now let's simmer this for about 10 minutes and then we're ready to plate up. And it's Irish. So let's top it with a little green, maybe just a touch of parsley. Let's give it a taste. First of all, let me pour my wine. Now this is a Petit Verdot. And Petit Verdot has a lot of tannic structure. It has wonderful, deep, rich flavors about it, gorgeous color. And it's perfect with this richness of the stew. So yummy. Everything's really hot, but I'm going to taste the broth. So good. Oh, so delicious. This combination is unbeatable. So whether you're having an Irish stout or a lovely, lovely glass of Petit Verdot, I hope you'll enjoy this recipe.